Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at AI voice generators
Oh, yeah.
and how they're changing the world of audiobooks. So whether you're an author,
Mhm.
maybe really into tech, or maybe you're just curious about this whole
Yeah,
rapidly changing field, this is for you. We're
absolutely.
going to be exploring
Yeah.
basically what AI voice generators are,
Right.
how they work,
Uh-huh.
and what they mean for the future of storytelling.
Definitely. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's moving so fast.
So let's just start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly an AI voice generator?
You can think of it as a digital narrator. It can take written text and turn it into speech, like human-like speech. It's like having a narrator who's always ready to go. You don't need any studio time or anything like that.
And that speed
Right.
and that efficiency,
Yeah.
that's a big deal for authors, right? I mean, getting a traditional audiobook done can take forever.
Absolutely. But I think what's really interesting is the technology behind it. Like, how does it actually work?
Yeah.
These AI systems, they analyze tons and tons of voice data. It's almost like
Mm.
they're absorbing a whole library of audiobooks, and then they learn how to mimic all the little things that make human speech sound real.
It's incredible how realistic
It is.
they're getting.
It's pretty
And
amazing.
of course, we can't forget about the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, professional human narrators,
Right.
they're amazing.
Oh, they're so talented.
But they also come with a price tag.
For sure.
So AI offers a more affordable option.
It does.
And I think that's especially helpful for,
Yeah.
like indie authors or
Or
people,
independent authors.
yeah,
Exactly.
who maybe don't have a huge budget.
Right. And that accessibility, I think, is what's really exciting. It's opening up so many possibilities. It's kind of like what happened with desktop publishing, back in the day, when suddenly anyone could make documents that looked professional. AI voice generation could be just as big of a deal for making audiobooks.
That's a great point. I mean, it's not just about
Yeah,
replacing human narrators.
exactly.
It's about giving more authors more opportunities,
More chances.
especially those who might not have been able to afford a traditional audiobook.
Exactly. That's a big barrier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So this technology could really help make audiobooks more accessible to a wider range of authors.
I've heard some authors worry about AI voices sounding
Ah,
kind of generic or robotic,
I can see that.
and that it might override their own unique style.
I get
Is
that.
that a valid concern?
Well, it's understandable that authors would worry about that. But actually, one of the coolest things about AI is how customizable it is. You can experiment with different voices, different styles, until you find the perfect fit for your book.
Yeah.
It's like having a whole cast of narrators to choose from.
So it's more about enhancing an author's voice
Yeah,
than replacing it.
exactly. That's the goal.
Okay, and that flexibility,
Right.
that's a huge advantage
It is right.
because they can really fine-tune the narration
They can.
to match their vision for the book.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the author side of things.
Right.
But what about accessibility for listeners?
Oh, that's another important piece.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. So AI narration has the potential to make audiobooks available to people
Mm-hmm.
who might have trouble reading, maybe because of visual impairments
Yeah.
or learning disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how many more people could enjoy audiobooks
Yeah.
thanks to this technology.
Yeah. It's an amazing thought. It's really about inclusivity
It is
and reaching a wider audience.
absolutely breaking down barriers
Yeah.
and making stories accessible to everyone.
And speaking of platforms that are really pushing the boundaries in this space,
Yeah.
we have to talk about authorvoices.ai.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing some really interesting work,
They are.
especially when it comes to giving authors control.
Right, or their audiobook.
Mhm. What I find fascinating about authorvoices.ai is their dedication to respecting an author's unique voice. They really understand how important that is. Their platform has a wide range of voices to choose from, and there's a lot of room for personalization, so you're not stuck with a generic AI voice. You can really make it your own.
So authors can tailor the narration to their specific book in their own style. And they've also made it very affordable.
Right, yeah.
Their pricing is pay as you go.
Mm-hmm.
No subscriptions, no
Yes.
contracts.
None of that.
So that really removes a lot of the financial barriers
That's fair.
that have traditionally been associated with audiobook production,
Absolutely.
which makes it much more accessible to indie authors
Yeah.
and those on a tighter budget.
Exactly. Authorvoices.ai is really focused on empowering authors and making the process of creating an audiobook more democratic.
So we've talked about the technical side of things,
Yeah.
the ethical considerations, and the incredible potential of AI voice generation. As we kind of wrap up this part of the conversation,
Okay.
what do you think? What stands out to you
Mm.
as the most impactful aspect of this technology?
For me, I think it's the potential to completely change
Hmm.
how we create and experience stories. AI voice generation gives authors the power to bring their written words to life in audio. And that lets them reach a much wider audience than ever before. And for listeners, it opens up a whole world of new possibilities. They have access to more stories, more voices. It's a really exciting time to be involved in the audiobook world.
I completely agree. It feels like we're right on the edge of a whole new era in
Hmm.
storytelling. And for anyone listening who's intrigued by all of this, I definitely encourage you to check out audiovoices.ai
Yeah.
and explore their platform. Listen to some samples
Yeah.
and see the potential for yourself.
Yeah, you might be surprised
Right.
by how realistic and engaging these AI voices are getting.
It's incredible to think about how far this technology has come
Yeah.
in such a short amount of time.
It really is. And it's only going to get more sophisticated
Yeah.
and more impressive in the years to come.
This has been a really insightful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners, thanks for joining us on this exploration of AI voice generators.
Mm.
It's a topic we'll definitely be keeping an eye on as this technology continues to evolve. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating,
Yeah.
and keep those stories coming.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about the impact
Oh, yeah.
on
Yeah,
inclusivity and reaching a wider audience.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
all about breaking down those barriers
Mm.
and making those stories accessible to everyone who wants to hear them.
Exactly. And speaking of platforms that are really making waves in this space,
Right.
we have to talk about authorvoices.ai.
Fruit-
They're doing some seriously cool work,
Yeah, they are.
particularly when it comes to giving authors control over their audiobooks. Yeah, what I find fascinating about them is their commitment to respecting an author's unique voice. They really get how important that is. They have this platform with tons of different voices to choose from and a lot of personalization options too. So you're not stuck with a generic AI voice, You can really tailor it to your book.
So authors can really make it their own.
Exactly.
And they've made it really affordable, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That pricing is pay-as-you-go,
Mm-hmm.
no subscription,
Oops.
no contracts.
No contracts.
So that takes away a lot of those financial barriers
For sure.
that have always been a part of audiobook production.
It's a game changer for a lot of authors.
And that makes it so much more accessible
Absolutely.
to indie authors and those on a tighter budget.
Exactly. Authorvoices.ai is really all about empowering authors and democratizing the audiobook creation process.
Okay, so we've talked about the tech side of things. We've talked about the ethical considerations and the incredible potential of AI voice generation. As we start to wrap up,
Yeah.
I'm curious what stands out to you as the
Mm.
most impactful aspect of this technology.
For me, it's got to be the potential to revolutionize how we create and experience stories. Like AI voice generation is giving authors this incredible power to bring their written words to life in audio. And that lets them connect with a much bigger audience than ever before. And for listeners, it opens up a world of possibilities. More stories, more voices to discover. It's a truly exciting time to be a part of the audiobook world.
It really is. It feels like we're on the verge of this whole new era in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone listening who's intrigued by all this, I really encourage you to check out authorvoices.ai
Mm-hmm.
and explore their platform.
Yep.
Listen to some of those samples, see the potential for yourself.
Yeah, you might be surprised at how realistic and engaging these AI voices are getting.
It's incredible to think how far this technology has come in such a short amount of time.
I know, it's mind-blowing. And it's only going to get more sophisticated and more impressive in the years to come.
This has been such a great conversation. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure.
And to all of our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this exploration of AI voice generators. We hope you found it informative, maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those stories coming.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what the future holds for audiobooks, right?
I know if AI can already create these voices that are so realistic
Yeah.
and engaging, I mean, just imagine what it'll be capable of in a few years.
It's kind of mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling, but one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty much endless. This technology could change the way we tell and experience stories in a really big way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining us today and for sharing your insights.
It's my pleasure.
It's been a truly fascinating conversation.
Yeah, it has.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in to this exploration of AI voice generators. We hope you found it informative. maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those stories coming.